So that is like one of the little anomalies here, that it's a 10-minute comedy sketch and it's in English and it's only popular in non-English speaking countries. There's repetition, right? So there's 4 courses and each course needs to be served and needs to be removed. And then James pours the drinks and then he needs to drink for each of the 4 guests. And each one has a personality and is kind of emulating them, like doing the voice and everything. That gets increasingly difficult as he gets increasingly drunk. So this happens like 4 times, and it's kind of the bulk of the sketch, right? And the difference is that with each one, there's repetition here, which is one of the pillars of comedy. And then you've got escalation, where with each round, with each course, James is getting more and more drunk. And so at first he makes small mistakes and then bigger mistakes, and then suddenly he misses the glass, or he runs past Miss Sophie because like he just can't walk straight anymore, right? And then we've got subverted expectations, because like on the way back to fetch the next course, he has to walk past this tiger fur like that's on the floor, and he trips over it each time. And then the 3rd time he jumps over it, and he's really proud of himself for having outsmarted the tiger fur. And then the 4th time he walks past it and is startled because he was expecting to trip or something like that, right?
And then he like trips on the way back as well on one of them as well.
Yeah, exactly, right? Instead of going this way and tripping, he trips over it going the other way. So like you've got subverted expectations here. You've set up a routine that the audience expects, and then you subvert it by something that's funnier. Right. So that's one of the types of comedy here. And then we've got, what else have we got? We've got slapstick, right? Like the physicality of pouring the drinks and serving the plates and everything. Like that gets increasingly cartoonish as time goes on. And then it ends on a sex joke. So there's a little bit for everybody, right? Like it's kind of speed running the different kinds of comedy in this 10 minutes, right? So if you don't like one of the gags, you like one of the others probably. And then there's also like a plot going on here, right? Because they don't tell you outright what's going on, right? You kind of infer what's going on from the dialogue, right? Like this whole thing that this dinner has been going on for 50 years and so on, right? So like these things are not outright said. They are kind of revealed through dialogue and through implication.
Yeah, and they do feel sincere. They do feel like kind of genuine, because again, like by the time you start to like understand, and it starts to like kind of set in actually sort of kind of like what's going on here, you kind of like feel, I know it's a comedy, but you kind of like feel the empathy, and it kind of like makes you reflect a little bit about sort of kind of, age and like how time kind of goes on and this, that, and the other, and like maybe being like the last of like your friends kind of like survive. So on that level, I do appreciate it, that
there's pathos to it, right? Like the silly comedy sketch has pathos. The silly, pointless routine. Like, why doesn't she just have dinner, right? Why is this whole song and dance about James impersonating the friends? And it's because this means something to her. And none of this is stated, but it's all implied, and it's in the mannerisms. And I think just on a writing standpoint, like this is a masterclass because of how much it says with increasingly few words. So I actually think this silly comedy sketch from 100 years ago is actually a masterpiece in some ways, right? People say you can't analyze humor, but actually, yes, I think you can see the techniques that are used here. And you can see how it kind of hooks the audience in, and how it kind of guides people along this journey and tells this story. And it does so in 10 minutes with no exposition, just pure performance. Yeah. And manages to be funny at the same time.
People actually enjoyed like the kind of the emotion underneath it as well. Because for me, anyways, I feel like every good bit of comedy, whether it's stand-up or whatever like that, has to have like that real life element of relatability to it, along with like the punchline, along with like the joke that you're sort of kind of like setting up. So like, I feel like, again, like you said, this for you is like close to being a masterpiece. But again, on my side, I really appreciate that they're able to like intertwine this like real life story into sort of this comedy sketch that they're sort of kind of like putting on, and sort of doing it in a clever way where they're not beating you over the head as to sort of what's going on.